What a wild card weekend, huh? But first things first, win one of these, cause it's out there and it's getting crazy out there. A lot of people are catching it. Even heard the breaking news, the current reigning, defending, undisputed WWE heavyweight champion Drew McIntyre, he tested positive. That was a shock. But yeah, wear these. It saves lives. Now then, we need to talk about the Steelers. My mind's still stuck on that game. I mean, wow. I don't think anybody saw that coming. I mean, even those who kind of had the Browns winning didn't expect that. I mean, from play one, from snap one, just everything just went wrong with Pittsburgh, and it had it was fodder for satire and ridicule from people who don't like the Steelers. There's a long list, um, and of course all the fingers were basically pointed at Juju Smith-Schuster, and I was one of them. This basically is all his fault. It's not just this game. It's the downward spiral. What happened to Juju? Because 2 years ago, he and James Conner were basically the faces of the drama-free Steelers. What was going on with Le'Veon holding out and AB being, well, AB. And Juju was one of the faces of sanity on that team. Now look what's happened. He's doing the TikTok videos. He's dancing on opposing logos, and that had Buffalo and Cincinnati, especially Cincinnati, all revved up. Pittsburgh lost both games. The only game they won since the 11-0 start was the game they needed to win to get in the playoffs and win the division. But even that wasn't easy because the Colts were going to beat them. And they lost to the Browns in the season finale. Of course, Ben didn't start, and that has Steelers fans kind of cocky. Oh, Ben wasn't out there. Ben's out there now. We'll kill him. Ben ended up throwing for over 500 yards, but he had to throw 68 times, and he had to throw that many times because he was playing from behind and behind by a lot. He threw 4 touchdowns, but he also threw 4 picks too. I think the Steelers had a grand total of 5 turnovers, I believe. It was just a hot mess. It was just a hot mess, and the question of where the Steelers go from here is an even worse one because many say Ben could hang it up after last night, though that may not happen. The Steelers fans are kind of mad at Juju. They definitely want Randy Fichtner, the offense coordinator. They want him the hell out of there. Somebody said Tomlin should get fired, but that's not going to happen. The Steelers don't fire coaches. They've had pretty much 2 coaches in most of my lifetime. It was Cowher for a long time, and then it's Tomlin. Before that, they had Chuck Noll for forever. So forget about Tomlin getting fired. He's not going to get fired. He'll probably leave and have his contract expired. But as far as getting the pay slip, no, that's not going to happen. But Marquise Pouncey, their center, the idiot who had that bad snap, they want him out of there too. Steelers fans want him out of there. But it was just a disaster. And it was a great win for the Browns. 48 points. They did it. That's New Year's of frustration. So that was their first playoff win since New Year's Day 1995. That's how long ago. And speaking of teams that haven't won a playoff game in forever, the Buffalo Bills, congrats to them. The Bills kicked off Super Wild Card Weekend with a nail-biting win against the Colts. I was hoping I would see some overtime, some playoff overtime, because NFL playoff overtime is almost as good as Stanley Cup playoff overtime. But that wasn't to be. They beat the Colts, and now the retirement talks are headed towards Phillip Rivers. Good guy, legendary quarterback. He does have his plethora of turnovers, but so did Brett Favre. So what does that matter? I hope it's not his last year, but it might be. He may have to go home, so then beautiful wife and those 9 precious kids. 9. That's a nice number. That's a baseball lineup. I love it. Also, the other AFC wild card, Lamar Jackson. Congratulations again. He finally won a playoff game, third time's the charm. He was 0-2 entering Sunday's game, and it was a hell of an effort. And it was thanks to Lamar's running and that great defense, pretty much stopping Derrick Henry in his tracks. 40 rushing yards. A 2,000-yard rush was held to 40. My goodness. People say they learned from that Packers game where we held them to under 100, but that was just something else. So the Ravens got the W, and now they've advanced. In the NFC. Oh my God. I still cannot believe Seattle lost. While I was out, I was actually chatting a bit with a Rams fan. And he couldn't believe it either. A lot of people couldn't believe it. But Seattle just looked like a hot mess. Now, usually I say Russ was the problem. For once, he wasn't the problem. He was a problem. It was a complete team effort. Everybody sucked in the Seahawks uniform except for DK Metcalf and Jason Myers, the kicker. Everybody else just, yuck. It was awful. And regarding the Rams, these are the Rams I expected that whole year. I mean, they had this up and down year where they would beat kind of good teams, but beat nobodies, but lose to nobodies. But there we got the good Rams. The Rams are capable of doing things. That makes me a bit nervous. I'll get to that a little later. And of course, Brady barely beat Washington, which again proves what I've said for a long time. Brady can't handle the NFC. I've said it for 5 years, and this season's proven me right. I mean, how do you barely beat Washington? You blow out teams like Washington. That's what a real quarterback would do. But it was a good game, and poor Alex Smith was out. Taylor Heinicke had to do it, and he showed us how good he is. He can run the ball. Him running that ball, that was something else. It was amazing. They definitely have a franchise quarterback in their hands if, God forbid, Alex Smith does hang it up. I kind of hope he comes back for another year because he wants to play. He missed too much time with that bad injury. He wants to be out there, and I can't blame the man. Nobody can. Great comeback from him though. And of course, Sunday was Saints Bears. And boy, was I grinning ear to ear at that game. Not just because the Bears lost. We all knew the Bears were going to lose. The Bears shouldn't be in the playoffs. They've proved that all year. They only got to the playoffs because there's an extra spot now, and it was by accident. Even then, they got it by accident. They are an awful team. They didn't score a touchdown until literally the last second. Jimmy Graham caught that meaningless touchdown, so it was 21-9. That game was just. It was on Nickel, and yes, I did switch between the CBS feed and the Nickelodeon feed just out of curiosity. I saw when it was a touchdown, they get slimed. It was funny. All the Nickelodeon, they had SpongeBob in the goalpost with field goals and extra points would be a kid. It was crazy. I'm pretty sure this isn't the last game Nickelodeon is going to show. Not as far as NFL, so we'll probably see some NFL on Nickelodeon a bit next year. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised that happens. But yeah, what I loved more about the Saints winning, other than the fact that the Bears got embarrassed, Bears getting embarrassed, that's a weekly thing. That's Sunday, sometimes Monday. What I loved was because the Rams won, it sets up Saints Bucks Part 3. That's right, the divisional playoff all set, and Saints Bucks Part 3 is happening, and that means it's the end of Brady. Brady can't beat the Saints. Look at his first 2 meetings. The Saints were his first opponent as a Buck, and he got trashed in the Superdome, the same Superdome that Rodgers burned down 2 weeks later. And what happened when the Saints went to his place? 38-3, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Brady is screwed. It's going to be a beautiful sight. It's going to end it's going to end divisional playoff weekend. We're going to see Brady get trounced for the 3rd time by the Saints, for the 2nd time in the Superdome. And again, well, he proved this in week 1. But this will definitely cement the cold hard fact I've said for 5 years. Tom Brady can't handle the NFC. He can't. Now Big Ben could. Put Big Ben in the NFC, he'd still kick ass because he's a better quarterback. But Brady, he couldn't even beat the Bears. Everybody beats the Bears. But so that is the main event of divisional playoff weekend. The other NFC divisional playoff game has the Rams and the Lambeau. That's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be very interesting because the Rams have the top defense in the league. They have the top defense in the league, but we have the top scored offense in the league. Nobody scores more than us. It's going to be a crazy game, but Rodgers should take down that defense. He's taken down good defenses before. This won't be any different. It's number one defense, but there are holes. Not many, but there are. And so that's the NFC half. That's the NFC half. And again, Packers Saints. That's going to happen. The AFC half. Cleveland, with their win, they're off to Kansas City. Now, would it be something if Cleveland beats the Chiefs? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but would it be something? I mean, they have a great running attack, that's for sure. But the Chiefs, they just have too many weapons. Mahomes is Mahomes. Need I say more? So, Chiefs should beat Cleveland, but it won't be easy. It's going to be a nail biter. And Ravens, Bills, that's going to be good. Two running quarterbacks going at it. And Ravens have a good defense, but the Bills' offense is just monstrous. It's tied for second as far as total offenses are concerned. Ironically, they tied with Tennessee, who Baltimore just got out of there. But Bills, I don't think the Bills have the holes that Tennessee had, so the Bills should win that game. So recap: my divisional playoff picks: AFC, Chiefs, Bills; NFC, Packers, Saints. That's gonna be a slobberknocker when Packers Saints Part 2 happens in Lambeau for the conference. It is. There won't be any defense in it. That's what makes it beautiful. It's going to be chaotic, just like that first game. But so that's my recap of Super Wildcard Weekend. It was a great experience seeing 3 games each day. It's going to be a permanent thing. And I'm just excited for the Elite 8. And I'll recap that when it ends. Hopefully it'll end with Rodgers advancing to the championship game for what will be the second year in a row. This time it'll be in Lambeau. So until then, and go Pack, go.